Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel and also Ganesh Shah. This is actually hosted by Ganesh Shah. I'm just piling on the ride because it sounded like a fun thing to have. Let's welcome, and he's also going to be he's going to be host plus guest, whatever. I'm just going to be asking one question here.
We are both in it together.
We'll be doing it together. So, viewers, Taiwan, an island too far. I have been there several times, and so has probably General Ravi Shankar. It's a very happening place. Like New York, Taipei is, to me, it felt always like New York. Something is happening all the time. And a very, very fascinating country. And I'll yield the floor to General Ravi Shankar. If there's questions, if there's any instance possible where I can relive some of my memories of Taiwan, I will be happy to do that. But over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And actually, I must confess, I've not been to Taiwan. I've not been to China or Taiwan. I've been around. Right, that's how it is. I've been to Korea, I've been to Cambodia, other places, but not there. But then I suppose, having met a lot of people from Taiwan, and it's a nice place, and people are quite carefree, all that. I mean, they're nice people. To be fundamentally, they're nice people. They're much nicer than the Chinese, the PRC characters. So yeah, we'll discuss. After all, today they've launched today's day 2 of those, the Justice 225, Justice Mission 2025, which China has launched, and today they're carrying out live firing. So I saw a thing, and it's not much, but it's interesting. And what I wanted to tell everyone, and Shreyarji, last week I did a thing of why it's militarily not possible to capture Taiwan by China. It's not possible. I mean, the possibility of a forceful reunification is just about 10%. It's the non-forceful reunification which is the interesting part. Let me off the bat ask you this question. Do you think Taiwan will get united with China through, soft power or other politically?
I'm glad you asked this question. General Ravi Shankar, to me, in the Far East, right? Usually I've made many trips to Japan. I made many trips to Korea, South Korea, of course, and to Taiwan. So as you go from country to country, each country has a signature. It's got you can feel the vibes, the culture. Japanese culture is one way, Korean culture is another way. One of the things that strikes you in Korea is that everything is Korean made. The cars, the refrigerators, anything you think about it, they have made it themselves. Maybe it is now priced out and they're buying also from China. But my memory is that they would do everything made in Korea. Not only that, even cars, motorcycles, scooters, cycles, everything. Then you go to Taiwan, it is just like United States. No two cars are the same. Everywhere there are, there's a buzz all the time. I used to there are only two big cities, Taipei and Hsinchu. Hsinchu is where the technology parks are. It's called Science-Based Park. And that's where the TSMC and all the big companies are all there. Also, many development R&D companies are also based there. Taipei, it is more like corporate, where there's the corporate office and more established companies will be there. But the thing about Taiwan was, I felt at home, just like in the United States. People speak decent, good English, and the jokes are also any American type. And the reason was that, when America wanted a low-cost manufacturing center, they went to Taiwan. First they went to Japan. Japan became too expensive. Then they moved to Korea. Korea was too expensive. Then they moved to Taiwan. Taiwan became too expensive. Now they have moved to China. And probably now Vietnam. So the thing about all these is Taiwan has an independent spirit. People like to do things the way they want. See, I'll give you another example, sir. I was working with a company, and there was this girl who was the liaison. She had just studied in US and come back. And she was basically translating for me all the questions from all the engineers and so on and so forth. So I'm leaving for US. And she says, yeah, this weekend I'm coming to US. And I asked her, what? Yeah, I'm going to come to New York on a Friday morning. I'll party Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, and then I'll take the flight and come back. Why are you doing all this? Oh my God, my boyfriend lives in New York. Why don't you move there? No, I like it here. He is there. No problem. No problem. So it was a very different kind of feeling that I got. That they are so westernized. Also, at the same time, they go back to hometown and so on. Taiwan is a very free will, independent, spirited country. I don't think they'll fit into that closed confines of China. Culturally, I think they are a misfit. But if China forces its will, I don't know what can happen, sir.
Yeah. So let's see whether China can force its will. That's the question. Actually, this is what I wanted to answer today and explain to everyone. Because the military aspect I've explained, it's beyond. So let me start by, going over this. As we have always discussed, when you look at China, everything in China is political. So yesterday, the Chinese, yeah, and most importantly, this is something with John Mearsheimer. He said, just listen to him.
Is that if the Chinese cannot win a quick and decisive victory in their pursuit of conquering Taiwan, they will not attack.
So he is very clear. He says if there is no quick victory, China will not attack. If they don't achieve a victory, China will not attack. And from what one can make out, there's no quick victories in Taiwan. Your views on that?
Yeah, see, the thing about the whole Taiwan Straits, General Ravi Shankar, is that, see, you have one map where you showed the map of Taiwan. Can you just bring that up? It's in this slide deck. I think it was the first slide. Yeah, right there. See, navigation is possible only in the strait between Taiwan and China, that side. On the other side, it's very, very rough. The seas are very rough, and you can't really hold things down. And so what that means is that if China is going to attack Taiwan, it is automatically going to draw South Korea and Japan in. They need their stuff also to go through that strait. So this is the corollary kind of thing. Sir?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. Look, let me put a few other issues. Like you rightly said, Japan and Korea will get drawn in. If Japan gets drawn in, USA gets drawn in, and vice versa. That I'll get to a little later. Few things which one has to understand as far as China is concerned is, trying to force their way into Taiwan. And what they're doing, after yesterday, they started these drills around. That's the map which I showed. Those blobs were the places where, these blobs are the places where the Chinese naval ships and aircraft are parked. They have no experience in battle. The Chinese have no experience in battle. Their weapon systems are unreliable. We've seen that. They have no leadership. Yesterday, day before, there are two more Air Force chiefs who have been sacked, present and past, and with them another 15 guys. And Taiwan needs a whole lot of preparation and planning and execution. And I've always said this: the hard part of this capturing Taiwan begins after you land. They have no surprise. There's a risk of escalation, and Japan and Philippines will come. And what will USA and India do? No one knows. Okay. Now I'll just show. This is the clip which is put out by PLA on their thing. There's a video war going on. Okay. That was the PLA thing. Now Taiwan also has put out.
中华民国海军，你已进入我240临街区海域，违反我中华民国领海及临街区法。
These are all images of Taiwan tight. Taiwan targeting this thing. So there's an info war going on, there's a psychological war going on, and all that. Now let's get to something more interesting. These are the 4 stages of this thing. For the past 4 years, they've done this. This is in 2022. This is where they encircled Taiwan. In 2024, this is where it was. Today, it is this. And the interesting thing here, these circles, which I'm shown, this is where they have not done anything. And why? Because of Japan. These islands are Japanese. Here, this island here is an island called Uniguni and Japan. Like what you said earlier, if they do anything here, they draw and of course, why are they doing all this? Because US has announced this massive package of arms at 10 billion. Whether anything comes or not, this 10 billion worth of arms are going into Taiwan. So do you think once these arms go in, China can do anything? It's a self-defeating argument for the Chinese. If so many arms, already Taiwan is pretty strong, if all these arms and latest missiles and surveillance equipment goes into Taiwan, it's curtains for China. And that is why they've done this. Then they are quoting the KMT, Kuomintang. There's one lady, this lady, who I'm shown here. She's the latest one, and she wants to talk to thing. But there are problems in that, and then we'll talk of that a little later. Here, I want your views also as I go along. We can discuss. Taiwan has all the characteristics of Ukraine. Let me ask you this. In Ukraine, Russia has not been able to overcome Ukrainians for the past 4 years. Do you think China will be able to overcome the Taiwanese and take them in, or the converse is, will Taiwanese be able to hold out for 2 to 3 years?
I don't know if they'll be able to hold out for 2 to 3 years, because if you see the way the island is shaped, General Ravi Shankar, Hsinchu and Taipei are about 60-70 kilometers apart, and that's where much of the civilization is. South of Taiwan, there is mostly agriculture, and it's not that populated. Everything happens on the northern part. So Taiwan may be conquered. The thing about Taiwan is people would have forgotten why Chiang Kai-shek was forced to come to Taiwan and establish the Republic of China, all his hardships, how Stalin held his son hostage so that he would not attack the PLA when he was in a stronger position. So these memories run deep. They have a memorial, Chiang Kai-shek Memorial there, just like Washington Memorial in United States. They have something like he's seated in a big chair. And he has also taken a lot of the cultural artifacts with him. And much of the Chinese artifacts you can find only in Taiwan. So there is a deeper connect to Chinese. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mandarin they use is more comprehensive than the one that is used in mainland China. Mainland China, just like Tamil, right? They cut off a lot of characters in the name of simplification. So there are lots of things like that, little things that will come to bite you. At the same time, Taiwan's, some of the smarter people, when China needed help, they went to mainland China, established companies. I still don't know how they were able to take out that money from there and repatriate it. I don't know. But if you look at the semiconductor fabs, that's all possible only because Taiwanese engineers went from here to China to help them construct it.
Fine. Okay. So, but while Taiwan might not be able to hold on, they'll inflict heavy casualties. Now, the question for the Chinese is, are these casualties politically acceptable? Now, what about the damage to economy? You said TSMC, Yewo, all that, and equally, the Chinese side is also pretty well developed. So, if fire is exchanged, politically damage will be to both sides. Own means Chinese and Taiwanese. So, is that damage would that damage be politically acceptable to China? Huge question mark. I don't think it would be. Then there is also a problem of insurgency. Like you rightly said, PLA will be able to take over Taiwan after at some point with great difficulty. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy victory. What do you do with 23 million people? Like you said, they are different from there. And these chaps have become a democracy. I mean, the way you describe, do you think they'll give up their freedoms to the Chinese communist system?
Not a chance. Not a chance. I mean, they have, they are very hotly contested elections. I have seen some of the election speeches and things like that. I felt very at home.
Okay, fine. So that means that completely democratized. Which democratic people will go want to become communist? No way. And they're 23 million, and they're pretty intelligent and smart from what I've met. So they will start a insurgency, and I'm sure that is their second line of action. And China has got no clue of how to fight an insurgency. So just think of a occupation kind of an army trying to quell 23 million. It was okay to do it with Hong Kong and all that. So my own thing is China will not, China might not be able to overpower Taiwan. And that is why this Taiwan will become a Ukraine for them, a long-term Ukraine in a different manner. The next thing, which I've always maintained and I felt, the CCP wants power. For them, power is the major currency. Right? War is risky. We don't know whether they'll win the war or not. But if the war doesn't go the way CCP wants, CCP might lose power in China. CCP would rather be a power in a country than be out of power in superpower China. This is my thinking. I want your think whether what do you think will happen in China if CCP loses this Taiwan battle or it goes into insurgency and all that? Do you think the democratic virus from Taiwan can get into China and China can get destabilized? Your views on that?
General Shankar, Hong Kong was a democracy, a very vibrant democracy that they have really suppressed. So there is an internal boil, and that is going to come to the surface. If you want to capture political power in China, you don't need to go to Beijing. You need to go to Shanghai.
Okay.
Shanghai is where much of the political thinking and the concept of China gets formed. So if Taiwan can, penetrate those two places, Shanghai and Hong Kong, China will. I mean, Beijing cannot do much, sir. These are the places where much of the power resides. Economically also, these are. See, you look at Hong Kong and you work your way north, right, into China. That's where you will see most of the industries, like the city called Shenzhen, and then beyond the province of Guangdong, and so on, and along the coast, and you go up to Shanghai. This is where much of the stuff is. Then they have this Wuhan, and some stuff in Beijing. But Beijing is not the one where much of the economic activity is happening. A little bit is happening, but much of the stuff, the nuts and bolts stuff,
is in the south.
It's all south. Yeah.
South. And south will be the place which will be damaged in any exchange of fire.
Correct.
Right? And if much of what will happen, in democracy, if there's an insurgency and all, this will go across. So, politically, CCP will be at a risk if it goes into Taiwan and prolongs the whole story. So the question is, will China kill the golden goose? The golden goose of its own power? The golden goose, because, they'll not get anything out of Taiwan. TSMC and all will run off from there. So I think this is what comes out. So I don't know whether China will even attempt getting hold of Taiwan politically. Your view on that?
Sir, there is palace intrigues, right? Zhang Yujia and Xi Jinping are the two competing factions. We don't know what the other guys who they are supporting. Some may say, like, one of you come victor, emerge victor, and I'll think about it. But at this point of time, in order to create a diversion, China needs an easy win. Easy win. Taiwan is not an easy win.
Yeah.
My guess is they might go after not a Taiwanese island, but a Japanese island. Senkaku, for example. Very close, not very far. And at the same time, you can probably capture it in 24 hours or something like that, and always say that they were doing some spying or something of that nature and do it. My other guess is they will not touch Taiwan. You know why, General Ravi Shankar? The next question, I'm going to answer it now. Will USA intervene? USA has suddenly found religion. They have figured out 80 to 90% of everything their armaments and arms need is in China. Right? So it's in their best interest to try and break China up into smaller parts, smaller, manageable parts, so that this hegemony can continue. So they are just itching to find a way to get into this. So there is no other alternative. Think about it. You cannot wage a war after 15, 20, 30 days of supply. Once that runs out, China is not going to give you. So what choice does US have? It has to have a fast way to do something and take out some leadership. Either that, or they would have planned a succession game, put this guy who's more conducive towards United States and wipe out the Xi Jinping lobby.
Yeah. So
Right?
US will, yeah, but then there's I agree with you. USA at some point of time will, but I'll come to it a little later because we'll talk of Japan and USA.
Yeah.
Next. You see, the next thing is, Xi Jinping himself, he's conscious of history. He's got his history written. He wants to become the greatest guy. Will he risk getting into Taiwan and losing it? That is a question, which many people, at least I'm convinced that Xi Jinping will never put his thing at risk. Because war is risky. And after what has happened with India, after all, 2020, if you see, he came into India, that he'll force the line and he'll put a LAC to his choice, all that, it's gone back. After 4 years, he had to go back. And now he's a significant portion of PLA stuck in the Himalayas, which he never planned for. So war has a way of finishing things off in a different thing. And in that kind of a thing, I don't think Xi Jinping will ever attempt Taiwan, because it could go all the way wrong. In LAC, across the LAC, in Tibet and all, you can try. There's hardly any population. Okay. Here you can't. You're dealing with 23 million people, and these 23 million people are Chinese, fundamentally. They understand what you are. And, they will, as much as you will go and try and subjugate them, those chaps will also infect you. That is something which one has to understand. Yeah. And of course, Taiwan will draw Japan and Philippines into battle, and China's trade will get hit. So will Korean and Japanese. So the stakes for everyone will go up, with the point which you are making earlier. And my own view is the China dream is good for nationalism. It's good to keep the CCP in power. They'll say, we'll unite, all that. But my own view is it will not happen. Right? Okay, let's look at the best way which Taiwan can be captured. This is my view. This is a thing. I would like your views on that after this. You see, you can't invade Taiwan, through the sea and all that. That has to be a backup. The best way, which I've always felt, to capture Taiwan is through the air. Get one of the airports and establish an airhead. Get a landing force there. That landing force has to then secure a bridgehead. And then through the landing force, do an air landing. It's a very complicated operation. And then start spreading. You can't do that in Taipei. You have to, that means, get to the southern airport somewhere. And not in the east, not these eastern ones. Because as you know, that's out. The cliffs are huge. So it has to be somewhere here, these southern, Kaohsiung or wherever. Right? Now, even to do that, and then go up north. Even to do that, they have to undermine Taiwan politically. So this is the only way China can do it. Do you think even that is possible? Let's say, can they undermine China politically, and undermine the government, and where people start saying, okay, we are welcome and do what you have to do? Do you think that is ever feasible?
Sir, it is possible. You know why? Because China's standard operating procedure is to honey trap the key of politician and then have them do their bidding, like a puppeteer kind of stuff. And I'm surprised that Kuomintang party, which is essentially an extension from my understanding of history, Chiang Kai-shek's legacy, and now they want to unite with China, but I thought they wanted to unite under the term that Taiwan is the one that's going to rule over China, not the other way around. So I'm surprised that that party is more China leaning and wants to have a reunion with China. My guess is US will not allow them any chance to land. I don't think so. That would be a problem, General Shankar. Let's say even if they land, see, there will be constant pinpricks. There will be, they'll start, giving no-fly zones. They can establish no-fly zones. They can enforce it. It would be a bit of a problem, but Japan is not too far for US to refuel and come down and enforce it. And I think Korea is probably even closer, if I'm not wrong.
We'll just get to that.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think you may be able to land and maybe have like 100 people, 200 people. And after that, US will start, badgering the heck out of them.
Look, once landing is done, it's battle.
It's battle. Correct.
If landing is done, it's battle. You're right. And even landing, I mean, let me put this, because a lot of people will talk about this landing and all. Landing can't be done in isolation. Within 48 hours, within 48 hours of the landing, the land invasion has to come in through the sea. Okay. It is not as if landing means that everything is up. The landing is subject to the fact that Taiwan will be completely politically destabilized before this whole story has happened. A lot of Taiwanese are Chinese leaning, and a lot of Taiwanese will say, okay, we'll go under the Chinese boot. You see, that is the thing. Unless they have undermined Taiwan fully, they can't do a landing. Only when they do that landing and then get sizable force and then slowly start expanding can this whole story happen. My own view is it can't happen. Because, and why? The Taiwanese people will not accept it. The fact which you brought out about, Kuomintang, Kuomintang Charter all has this one thing in it, that at some point of time we have to regain mainland China and rule it.
Rule it, correct.
These people, Kuomintang has always had a contact with China somewhere or other, PRC. And their ulterior motive, I guess, is to go across and rule it. Okay. That is the way I have always looked at it. So, this dealing which PRC is having with Kuomintang is loaded, even against them. Kuomintang, PRC might be thinking we'll use Kuomintang to undermine Taiwan, but Kuomintang might be doing the other way around. So that's the way I look at it. Okay, so this option also at this point of time is absolutely remote of doing an air landing and then expanding and all that. And that is, look at this clip I got. Very interesting clip, and it supports what you have said.
因为最近上海复旦大学有一个学者他提到说，统一后不到10年，那台北可以达到中国2线城市的水平。那不知道你怎么看这样的一个说法
？So the Chinese want to make a second tier city out of Taipei. That's the view. And look at this Taiwanese what he says.
这是一种典型的骄傲自大，这是一种典型的骄傲自大。我上次跟大家报告哈，我们台湾的人均 GDP 现在应该是将近38000美元啊，整个中国大概是13500块，13500块美元啊。那台北市虽然地方比较小，人口比较少，但是以人均 GDP 来讲，绝对不是中国的2线城市可以比。就算是中国的1线城市，他们的人均 GDP 也是不如台北市啊。那所以
So that's very simple. in terms of any capture by China, the Taiwanese have a lot to lose. So the people will not be amenable to get under the Chinese jackboot. There's another lady. See, what does she say? This lady, I don't like people from China.
为什么不太喜欢那个？就是真的有去过大陆或怎样，就觉得他们都真的蛮没礼貌的那种感觉，就不太好。
中国大陆真的是会有一天，就是无力的手段来侵犯台湾吗？
我自己觉得不。
So this is what they feel. I mean, let me get your view about all this. How do you think in these conditions that Chinese will ever be able to overcome Taiwanese?
I think, see, Taiwan has an enterprising spirit, just like Silicon Valley, General Shankar, because, see, when China became the manufacturing house for the powerhouse for the whole world, where did Taiwan go? Taiwan specialized. Taiwan holds specialized stuff, like, for example, world's best plastics is always in Taiwan now. Nobody else has the best plastic than they have. They create, critical stuff that the world needs. For example, state-of-the-art fab in TSMC, and there are a whole bunch of ecosystem around that where lots of people are supplying various things. Taiwan has that spirit of entrepreneurship that will be stifled because they've already seen what happened to Alibaba. So,
and Hong Kong too.
Hong Kong too, exactly, on Hong Kong too. So it's and Taiwan can easily transfer their money out to United States. So if something like this happens, see, it cannot be a switch that China occupies Taiwan, takes over its banking, closes down the, can't happen, right? Right. So that means they will be, in a flick of a second, they'll be able to move all their, assets out of Taiwan into United States or Singapore. Most likely United States, because Taiwan probably would feel safer with their assets being in United States.
So that means what? Even if China captures Taiwan, they'll get an empty shell.
Yeah.
They'll get an empty shell of 23 million people whose loyalty is not with China, who are not prepared to lose. You see, like what she said, this young girl, she says, I don't like China because their manners are bad. And like the other guy who says, my GDP is 3 times more than average Chinese GDP. Why should I go under him? So these things, so the Taiwanese have a lot at stake to lose if the Chinese come in. And for that very reason, they will start defending themselves. I mean, this is my logic. You agree with it, or you have?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And like I said, Taiwan has a lot of channels. English channels are there. Even in some of the malls, I used to listen to Daler Mehndi music. I used to think, "Ye kahan se aa gaya?" They like that music.
Okay.
Peppy stuff.
Now, let's move to a little different aspect. That is, let's get to this first island chain and Ryukyu Islands. For everyone who's not seen, from Japan, there's a set of islands which are called the Ryukyu Islands, which come down to Taiwan. This is what Shreyarji was also talking a little earlier. And just to put things in perspective, Senkakus are here, where my pointer is at this point.
Right.
Yeah, right? Little to the north. And this is the Ryukyus. The nearest island is called Yoniguni. And Yoniguni is exactly 100 kilometers from Ilian city, which is, on the eastern side of Taiwan. And in terms of miles, it's 70 miles. That's it. Okay. So if you try and attack Taiwan, virtually this will come into the fray.
Correct.
And if this comes into the fray, Japan is sucked into the war. Okay. Just to give you an idea, this is the islands. And here in the south, this is the Bashi Channel. Okay. Now this Bashi Channel is very important for China if they have to go out into the open seas. And these islands which you see here, these are Philippines Islands. Effectively, what China has is in this area about a 50-kilometer stretch. That's it. 50 kilometers here and about 70, 80 kilometers here. And then they have to go, this is called the Miyako Straits. They have to get this. And this is completely Japanese islands. There's no way, So China has to get all this through. So if China has to get all this through, and if they want to attack Taiwan, then what we are looking at is they have to tackle all these areas, which means Philippines and China and Japan will be drawn into this battle one way or the other. Okay, this is it. You look at it. This is Okinawa, yeah, right, and it comes down. This is the island, and all these islands are dominated by the first island chain. This is the first island chain. So there's a problem. Now I'm going to go back and explain and connect it up with what's happening today in Taiwan. Okay, see. This is the map of the firing areas in 2022 when China fired. They fired 11 missiles. They fired from here into this area. They fired from here, and here, and here. Now, what happened is one of three missiles were inaccurate, and when it triggered a chain of events. What happened? These missiles landed in the territorial waters of Japan. Three of them. Immediately, Japan took up cudgels with China, and it was a huge thing. And then suddenly China realized, oh, our missiles were inaccurate, they didn't land where they were. So they brought out two things. One, whatever China fires from wherever, it might not reach the intended target. If it doesn't reach the intended target, then there's no military victory. And second, you will draw Japan into the war. After all, in between these areas, the Japanese ships are also doing firing, all that. And if all this is happening and with this kind of a thing, Japan will start deploying their assets also. It is there. That's what is important, right? And look at this. This came out. This is of 23. This tweet is of 23. I picked it out. Japan's decision to deploy surface-to-air missiles in Yonaguni. They have put it all there, and these missiles landed here, the Chinese missiles, right? Which China considered its territories, will cause China to retaliate a move on Senkaku and Diaoyu. That means things will go north. As a result, from January 23, AD missiles have been deployed in Yonaguni. Already, the Chinese thought of a victory in this is gone. And that is why I said they've avoided that area. And it was very clear at that time itself that they had botched up internally. There were a lot of internal inquiries in China, and a lot of these people were sacked. But ever since then, Japan has been rearming this place. But now things have become more complicated. It is this. Sanai Takechi, in one of her inaugural addresses, she has said, I believe any action involving the use of force, such as China deploying naval ships, can only be described as a survival-threatening situation. Now, survival-threatening situation is a benchmark for Japanese military involvement. So, that's the way things are. Okay? And this is what Mearsheimer had to say about Sanai Takechi.
Turning to Prime Minister Takaichi, I think her subtle comments about a Chinese invasion of Taiwan representing a threat to Japan's survival, implying, of course, that Japan might have to join the fight if China invaded Taiwan, was a very smart thing to do.
高市
So this is what he said. Everyone now feels that the option of invading Taiwan is out. Because she's already said it. She's made a statement. It's not only that. You see, it doesn't stop there. Japan has started engaging with Taiwan more than before. It angers China is a different thing. Add to this the $10 billion arms deal which is being done by USA and Taiwan. And then, of course, Japan has started remilitarizing. That's the interesting thing. Their defense spending is going up to 70 billion. 70 billion is what India spends, just to put it in context. Okay. And we are the third largest spender globally. And they are going now, Japan is going to match us. Now, all this leaves where? They're in 2024 itself, they've hiked their defense expenditure by 21%. And this is significant, right? I saw this article yesterday. This article is beautiful. All those who are watching, I would suggest if you're interested, read this article. It says how a Chinese attack on Taiwan would be Japan's problem. What does this article tell? And I must put it out. It says if let's look at it the US angle. If USA has to get involved in this Taiwan and protect Taiwan, where will it react from? There are only two places. One from the first island chain where American forces are, or in Guam. So any response, American response to a Taiwan attack, a Chinese attack on Taiwan, has to come from Japanese territory. Fundamental. It has to come from Japanese territory. If it has to come from Japanese territory, virtually any attack on Taiwan means that Japan and US are already at war with China. That's the first thing. Very important thing which probably many of us didn't understand, which Sanai Takechi has brought out very clearly. We'll have to get it. Second, because Yonaguni is so close and the Chinese missiles have done what they want, they have to get involved. If Japan gets involved, USA will be pulled in because there's a defense treaty. And if all this happens, Philippines will come in. If Philippines comes in, USA again has to come in. Leaving everything else apart, the moment a serious attempt to capture Taiwan happens, all these three countries will be in. And if this happens, it will lead to much more. So I don't think there's a military option at all. And I also don't think there's a political option. That's my view. I would like you to comment on that first and then think as to if that is not possible, why is China doing all these drills? That's the second part of the story.
Gen R Shankar, my guess is that Xi Jinping is losing control, but somebody else wants to succeed him from his own faction. So how do you ease somebody out? By forcing him into doing something that will probably be hung on his neck, just like Khrushchev got crucified politically after the Cuban Missile Crisis, right? And Brezhnev took over. And something like that could be happening. These are all his closest people that he keeps them very close to him, because those will be the guys who will know all the other angles and other counters and things like that. So I have a feeling that all this is to try and keep the attention away from the internal problems for the people and saying that we are going to go get Taiwan, we are going to do this thing, we are going to do that. 100% I feel that they will not be able to do that for the same reasons that you mentioned. I mean, 2-3 years ago, Elmer Yuen had told me that it's impossible to use the other side to go from, along the first island chain to Japan and Korea. That's too risky for like oil tankers, for example. Simple thing, right? You need good, smooth sea. So this is a no-go. There is no other way. So these people are going to take them on. My guess is China may think they have a lot of state-of-the-art weapons. Just when they start feeling confident, something happens. 3 days ago in Cambodia, MLRS, something like that.
Yeah, they blew up.
Blew up. Eight Cambodian soldiers dead.
Yeah.
And the gory thing is captured on video.
Yes.
So
yeah, I agree with you. So there's a huge problem. I mean, everyone here should understand China has been bleeding generals. I've never seen any armed force bleeding generals. And if you don't have generalship. And yesterday only we spoke of the requirement of
Right.
generalship. Okay, we had this electric discussion. It started off smoothly, but the tempo was very high towards the end. If you don't have good generals, you're not going to win campaigns. And China at this point of time doesn't have good generals. They might be good people. That's a different story. I mean, you leave their communist thing and all that. But there can't be good generals because politically they're not been given the thing. And let me tell you, a general needs political backing to succeed. And China doesn't have that sync. They talk a lot about civil military fusion and all, but I don't think there's a civil military fusion between the political leadership and the military leadership. So that's the first part of this whole story. So that is not there. And of course, the weapon systems are not there. The weapon systems are all iffy. And this has been proven in this Taiwan Strait area and in Cambodia. Demonstrated. And why has Japan jumped into all this? Because of what happened earlier 2 years back, which is now boiling up. So I don't think that will work. Yeah, like what Shreyarji said, they'll do all this nonsense, right? To keep focus away from internal factors. Internally, we know the demography is declining. Their economy is not doing well. And a very interesting news item which I saw today, and I didn't realize it. All of us have been discussing that China has got a positive trade surplus of $1 trillion. I'm sure you heard of it, all of us. We've been discussing for the past 1 week, 10 days. So how can China be badly off? They have a $1 trillion surplus. I agree. Why should it be bad? If I have a $1 trillion trade surplus with the world, I should be very happy economically. But why is it not happy? Today, in fact, I've been saying, because they've been selling all these at subsidized rates at below par rates. They've been selling hell of a lot without profit. And this theory of mine got proven today. There's a question in South China Morning Post today. He says, if China has been selling all this, where's the money? There's no money. People say, look, our foreign reserves have not increased. Our trade balances, the fiscal part of it has not changed. The fiscal part of this trade balance has not changed at all. So where's the money gone? The money's gone nowhere because there was no money involved. You're selling it under par. That's the thing. So I think given all these factors, I don't think China will ever go into Taiwan. But I'm going to take both of us at a little bit of a tangent. Very funnily, this is Russian television, RT. This is a clip of RT which they put out. This is Russia showing Chinese weapons firing and saying this is what they're doing, all that in support of China. The moot question which comes to us, which I'm going to ask you, is how do we trust Russia if they're fully supporting China? Your views?
As far as India is concerned, I think India is lucky in the sense that Putin is a very stable guy. He's a very balanced person. He can, say that the thing that Asim Munir said, right? I can stand with someone and sit with someone and sleep with somebody. Putin can do that. The one challenge that Putin has is right now, because of the war in Ukraine, he has completely left his eastern flanks completely exposed. China can just drive in if they want to. So why is China not doing it? Because China knows that Russia has always got they have the stomach for long wars. They are not going to forget. They are not going to give up. So there is always this uneasy feeling that you may think you may be powerful, but I know how to get back at you. Russia has that gutsy thing. My 2 cents about his annexation of Russian-speaking areas in Ukraine is just that he wants to have more Russia, because Russia itself is shrinking population-wise. We've been talking about China's shrink. Russia is also shrinking quite a bit, sir. So, mail order catalog, their Russian brides are available for mail order catalog. These things come in US, believe it or not. Just like, it comes in mail. You want to get married to a Russian woman, here, get in touch with everything.
Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is, you see, Russia has this vulnerability with China, and they're playing a game with each other. Where does it leave us is the question. So we also have to be clear. I'm leaving a poser. Forget the fact that Taiwan will get taken or not. That will not happen. In my own view, Taiwan will never be taken by China. It doesn't have the capability, especially after the way they've got fixed against India. But we have to be careful with Russia. While Russia is our friend, we have to be clear that Mr. Putin is vulnerable on his eastern flank, and that is why he's doing all this. And he's also vulnerable with Ukraine. People say that he'll take over, consolidate those Russian-speaking areas, all that. He's militarily better off and all that. But when this whole story finishes, Ukraine hopefully, or goes into an armistice kind of a thing, like what's happening between North Korea and South Korea.
Demilitarized zones, yeah.
Demilitarized zones and things like that. Russian economy will start having a lot of problems.
Yeah.
It'll happen, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll have to see whether Russia will shift its stance or not, and where does it leave us is something which we have to really honestly think about. So I thought we'll put all these issues across. Would you like to summarize this whole exercise which China is doing against Taiwan?
Very aptly asked, sir. I had a lot of fun today because you made me go back down memory lane and come back again. China has a problem in that people are not happy and the wealth doesn't spread to everybody. It's very unequally spread. There are people still, even today, General Shankar, people from China, they are buying properties with cash down in California, 4 million, 5 million. The range of houses that sell between 4 million and above, all cash down, 99% China. One odd times you will see from South Korea or Philippines or Indonesia, ultra rich guys adding to their portfolio of houses. So the common man is really suffering. You are seeing where, you're seeing videos now where the youth just sleep in railway platforms and things of that nature, no jobs, and people above 35 are being completely laid off. I don't know where they are landing. No hope in sight of, increasing the population. She can pass an order saying everybody shall have 3 kids. Nobody has they haven't even married. So at best, this can be a, exercise where they may try and get one island somewhere and say that's now we have Taiwan or something of that nature. There is one island which is, I think, within 12 kilometers of the mainland.
Yeah, Kinmen.
You can actually see the mainland.
Kinmen.
Yeah, Tinman Island. Correct.
Yeah. But the problem for China in that is, if that island is taken by China, USA will come and sit inside Taiwan. They have this illegal thing to do that. There's a huge risk. The political risks for China in this are huge. And my own view, I must thank Mr. Shreya to give all this. My own view is China will play Taiwan politically to keep itself in power internally and externalize its problems, and all this huffing and puffing like a big bad wolf will continue. Right? With this, can we take a few questions? Because there are...
Yes, sir. Go ahead. I may have to leave in about a couple of minutes' time, but you can take the questions.
This thing. There's one chap who says, "Good morning, General. Looking great in blue today." I must tell you, this T-shirt is over 2 decades old. This is a blue and yellow T-shirt it represents these colors of Bravo Squadron in India. So this is my squadron T-shirt which I keep wearing, right? And okay, yeah. Can the island ever go back to what it was before this exercise?
I think so.
You think so? Yeah. And why is China hyping up the Chinese? Why is USA hyping up the Chinese armed forces?
You want to take that one, sir? I can guess one thing.
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
Look, US has penetrated the Chinese intelligence completely, including their rocket division. That's why they had to purge so many people. And not only did the US penetrate, they felt confident enough to put it out on think tanks that these are all the things. And they have also sorted out all the new things that were on display. Remember, Putin had come to attend, and North Korean guy, that fat guy, also had come. Sorry, I didn't mean to be, I have to be politically correct. Kim Jong-un, he had come there, and they are now sorted out all those things. They are just thinking that it is just some fancy machining, but nothing inside. And that gets proved again and again. So I think US wants to do this so that they can provoke China into attacking Taiwan. Then they can get involved. And then the game is like this. If something starts and if US gets involved, sir, believe me, it will do everything possible to break up China into multiple parts.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And
it's not like India.
On a very fundamental note, China will hype up USA will hype up Chinese armed forces just to keep its own business in play. After all, it's got a defense industrial base also in play. If you're this thing, you want to quit, you quit.
Yes. I would like so I will leave, but the channel will keep going whenever you terminate. So I'm on a different channel. Yeah. Thank you once again, sir.
Thanks a lot for joining in. We'll continue with all the question and answers, and I'll spend another 10 minutes on this because I think a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining in. Thank you. Okay, the next question is: can South Korea be drawn in without a North Korea being drawn in? It can't happen. One of the things which South Korea will have to face is this dilemma. The next thing is, will North Korea get involved because the way China is getting involved here? That's the next question. What is it there for North Korea? Because North Korea, if it gets drawn into this mega war, it will have its own problems. And that fellow is not a fool, Kim Jong-un. Why should India do anything? India should do nothing. India should do nothing there, but wait for an opportunity. Okay? We should wait for an opportunity and deal with it. Pradeep Patil says China can't win Taiwan over. I agree with you 100%. Then Shruti Chandak, yes, namaskar to you. Vignesh, good morning. Sheshu says, good morning. Thanks a lot. I heard this partly in your other podcast. Looking forward to hearing more in detail. Look, today I've connected the political with the military. Politically, there's no go in this whole story. This is more hype. Okay, Xi Jinping will not risk anything for Taiwan. My own view is that Xi Jinping will be happier without Taiwan than this, but this game will go on. I hope I've clarified this on both ways. We are talking of Khalida Zia. We'll talk of it in the evening. We're going to have two discussions in the evening. First, General Dushyant and I will start at 7 o'clock. This will be on the Claus channel. And then, of course, we're going to have our own Casa dialogues at 8 o'clock. So we're going to talk Bangladesh in both things. So we're going to have a heavy session on Bangladesh because Bangladesh Yeah, unfortunately, again, my light has gone off. So give me 1 minute, I'll get some light in. Yeah, sorry. the fundamental thing is I'm living in an area where there's a metro being constructed, and that metro, has issues of the light going off. The whole, the whole area gets tripped because of that metro construction. So we have to live with it. It's a cost of progress. So fine, we'll continue. Okay. So like I said, come in the evening, 7 o'clock. We're going to have 2 sessions on Bangladesh. Okay. Ladybird Haru, good morning. Praval, good morning. Manishri, good morning. Then, yeah, let's see what else. Yeah. Unu says, I've been to Taiwan many times as well. Taipei is amazing, and so is cities all along. Food is great, and so are the fruits, the best lychee I've had in my life. People are nice too. Thank you. And it is only for that reason that, Xi Jinping wants Taiwan and he's not going to get it. Yeah, this is also interesting. Been to Taiwan many times. Surprised to eat that they have a variant of our pan, and we can also get their version of anda paratha on those streets. Very nice. That's a nice one. Yeah. Morning, Ram, and morning, Mrs. Claire's. Shanghai is extraordinary city, as mind blowing as Chicago must be, but unfortunately, I can't go to China. They'll not let me set their foot on China, and throughout my service, I couldn't think of going to China. So, well, that's something which I'll miss out. Okay. The Taiwan has limited energy reserves, 6 months worth of oil, LNG only 10 days. Without energy, Taiwan can pump drinking water, can't pump drinking water. Could China just blockade Taiwan? Let me tell you something. Blockade is an act of war. If you declared a blockade, that's an act of war. And that is where, things will get difficult for Taiwan. I think I have, let me show you something else, which it's not coming up. Okay. It's not coming up. Sorry. It's not coming up because of this thing. You see, when you do a blockade, China is susceptible to a counter blockade. See, what happens is many people don't understand. A blockade is an act of war. The moment you put a blockade around Taiwan, people will start reacting because it's war. They will take care of their own. Japanese ships will come, Philippine ships will come, American ships will come around. So they will put an outer cordon around China. And then this Malacca Strait will get blocked. It's nice to say blockade. Blockade is an act of war. So when all this happens, who will get hit most? China. And that area from Yonaguni to Taiwan, which is just 70 kilometers, you can't blockade that. Something will start going in from the north of Taiwan. So if that happens, there's no blockade. So it's all huff and puff. Okay, don't ever think that. Yeah, I go with what Vivek says. USA and China and Taiwan are all fused together at the hip, same supply chains. I agree with you. It's all wishful thinking. Yeah, political rhetoric only. He's right. Yeah. Will China come for Arunachal after it's done in the Pacific, or will they attack us earlier? Asim, yesterday only I spoke about what the situation on the LAC is. Why will China attack India? They are fools. Okay. They have already burned their boats with India. They're now trying to build the bridges. they'll get back to the square one. And you should also understand that any attack by China will be a failure hereafter. Yesterday only I said the balance has shifted. Anyway, this is that mentality where you don't want to get off being defeated. That's the problem with most of us in India. Why do you think countries in 2025 are still obsessed with conquering land, Russia and China, as it is almost impossible to conquer people in that area and it is not worth the hassle? I agree with you 1000%. You see, what has happened with development and all, and progress, everything, that people have coalesced around their capitals and their cultures. People will not give it up. Gone are the days when you when you got conquered, you went under a different king. That kind is gone. Cultures have hardened. Cultures are not prepared to enter into exist under each other. They're not prepared to. So this whole story of war has to change. This business of conquering land is something stupid. Who wants to conquer land today? Russia, which they want to do where? They're not also going far into Ukraine. They've stopped. They can't go. They know that. They're only conquered that part of land where there is Russian culture and Russian people. They're not moving one step ahead. China is doing something one doesn't understand why they're doing what they're doing. And they are only going in those places where there are Orientals. They are not interested in Nepal. They are interested in Arunachal, where they feel they can get it hold of it politically. So you have to see what is war going to be tomorrow. War is not going to be about land. War is going to be about resources. War is it going to be about information, right? When you say resources, oil, data, water, these are the things which we're going to have war on. Space, that's it. Yeah. Namaste. Thanks a lot, Manu Singh, for joining in. Yeah. So, with the capabilities of intelligence organizations, why is it still that tech which is so core to whole humanity is now in the hands of a few semiconductor tech such as NVIDIA, ASML, and TSMC? Espionage? No, it's not a matter of espionage. That tech will not be given to everyone. It doesn't happen that way. Okay, so that's how it is. Tech is costly, it is remunerative. So no one will give their tech away to anyone else. And as far as tech is in a few hands, they'll carry out espionage. What do you think for Chinese is easier? India, Taiwan, Philippines, Japan Island? None. None. Zero. They can do nothing. Now he says Taiwan, unless he's a Chinese, with the Chinese feel that Taiwan is a small thing, Taiwan is the most difficult option for them. Is the most. In fact, the easiest I will put it is India. They don't have to conquer every place in India. They have to get hold of a few rocks and hold on to it like they did in Wangdung, Sundaram-chu. The only problem is we can do the other thing, which we've done. In Arunachal, we were actually, in a few places, we are across. KMT might agree to reunify under the basis of holding free elections, knowing very well they will be elected to power into. Yeah, that's a thing that's why China will hesitate to do anything with KMT beyond a point. Okay. Yeah, Manishri, thanks a lot from becoming a YouTube member. Yeah, Parisara, thanks a lot for becoming a YouTube member. Then McNewn, thanks a lot. Superpowers need appealing ideology to be sustainable. Maslow pyramid knew it long ago. USSR lost to USA. In ideology war, what's the Chinese ideology? That's a very interesting question. And the thing is that the Chinese ideology is to dominate. Their ideology today is confused. What is their ideology? Today, the ideology is not Chinese ideology. You're fighting the CCP ideology. What is the CCP ideology? The ideology stems around the fact that they want to be in power always. And to be in power, they have to be winning. Winning against whom? They have to be the first amongst everything. They have to say, they have to live up to the social contract. The social contract drives them to say that, tell the people that we will not only take care of you, we'll keep you at the top of everything. Otherwise, the Chinese system will collapse. Is the Chinese ideology coming through? No. What is the Chinese ideology? It is the CCP ideology. So there's a confusion within China as to what they want. All I want, I'll reiterate what I said in the beginning. This is the ideology of Chinese power. China and the CCP wants to be in power of a country. If that is threatened, they'll quit. They'll not get into anything. That's the thing. Please understand that. Yeah, do you think Japan as a country with low birth rates and old people should be militarizing? Well, whether you like it or not, they're doing it what they want. Their work culture is really bad and their society as a whole has gone too soft. I don't think so. Can they rebound? They might rebound everywhere, but not in population. But otherwise, they've rebounded. They've come out of the stagnation. They've recorded their first year of growth, economic growth, and they are remilitarizing and they are heading towards being nuclear. I wouldn't be surprised 10 years from now, Japan starts thinking of becoming nuclear seriously. Now, right now, there's just a debate going on. When will that harden into action is to be seen. We'll discuss this one of these days. Pacific is de facto American territory. China making moves on Taiwan will be seen as encroaching on American territory, which will prompt US. Yeah, I agree with you. There's no choice. Do you think China could simply fill Trump family coffers to manage Trump? Possible. The only problem is Xi Jinping might not be interested in doing that because that will be a loss for him. See, you're looking at two different characters. Xi Jinping wants to be not only the president for life, but one of the greatest chaps in Chinese history. That's why I said going into Taiwan is against his own history. He'll not go in. Bribing Trump, the issue will come out. Then he'll be seen as weak. So he'll not do it. Yeah, don't you think that by blocking their food, emergency, and core imports on the Malacca Strait, we can completely destroy them? Yes. But blocking Malacca Strait is not a simple affair. Huh? Like one of these days, I'll discuss the dynamics of blocking the Malacca Strait. Yeah, lose trust is a very important factor. If China does this, they'll lose trust in China. And that will be a very serious thing for China. A very good point you brought out. Thank you. It should be noted that the Philippines will have allies to support India. Again, very valid, but then that's a call. I don't think the India-Philippines bond is developed to a level where we can start supporting Philippines in a war with China. We will, but how much is to be seen. Okay. The strategy that China is following is to sell at cost internationally rather than to depreciate yuan. That blocks inflation. But I've explained this. They're doing that only because they have to keep their factories going. They'll sell. What are they doing for that? Subsidizing all these factories to sell at subpar rates. But that subsidy is coming at the cost of the people. That's the problem. Okay. Do you see US provoking China and Taiwan issue to balance a few with China? Looks like that is the reason why US is not jumping into this issue in the yeah. They are playing the waiting game. They want China to be looking like idiots, and that is where China is heading. How powerful our armed forces are? We are very powerful. Don't worry. We are powerful enough to take care of our country. Will Russia strike a deal with US with respect to Ukraine and keep quiet if China-US face-off occurs over Taiwan? Of course they will. What is Russia trying? He wants a deal with Trump over Ukraine. He's already dealt. The only thing is Europe has the joker in the pack. Confucianism is Chinese ideology. No, I think it's more CCP. Sir, good session. One question: why can't India openly give up on the one China policy? China is openly denying India's sovereign land. We've already given up on the one China policy, but for some reason, I don't know why our government is not taking a hard line on it. I agree with you. I agree with you completely. Belkin brand has $200 fire protection warranty on surge protectors for your electronics. Where does Belkin come in? China lacks a compelling vision beyond prosperity, and like the USSR, will struggle when material delivery alone isn't enough. USSR saw it. Yeah, I agree with you. That is gone. China delivering prosperity to its people is finished. It's gone. And tomorrow I'll tell you what all issues China is facing at the end of the year. Tomorrow, that is my last. At the end of the year, I'm going to talk of China and how it's struggling at the end of the year. China Panama Monument Park, I'll talk about tomorrow. Gen too far. It is so near. The US American can't do what is India doing in SCS? I've spoken about it. There's no point in repeating it to you. What are the thoughts about regional alliance between India and all these countries which threaten China or China threatens consistently? I know India can handle China alone, but it makes sense for us to have an alliance, and we need to do it. We need to do it in a different manner. We'll discuss this in the evening with General Dushyant because he's coming up with the interesting proposition of having a Quad headquarter in Andaman Nicobar. And we'll discuss this issue, Satish, in the evening, 7 o'clock. Join in. Okay. Does Bangladesh know that American corn is fed? We'll talk of it today. I like it. Okay, fine. Thanks a lot to all of you for having come in. And I do hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this, do press the like button. Also, subscribe to Gunner Shot, and I'd request more of you to join in as members. Thanks for joining in. We'll join in at 7 o'clock in the evening with General Dushyant Singh. Till then, have a great day and Jai Hind.